We both have staged what we call partnership events, private or proprietary trade shows for specific clients. Do you get a sense that there seems to be a better sense of return on investment for those kinds of events?
There does seem to be a trend of more exhibitors holding their own events that they can capture their audience and sort of do some guerrilla marketing, as it were, and say, okay, these are my prospects and this is my event and I don't have to share that airtime with anybody.
Do you think that there's, in terms of the educational component, that there's a better opportunity to train their clients and teach their people in terms of new equipment, new technologies, so that as opposed to getting somebody in your booth at a show, a general trade show, and they might be in there for 10 minutes and they might watch 5 minutes of that video loop that you've got playing in your booth, as opposed to going to one of these focus shows where they don't have 100 different booths that they're planning on seeing that day, so they can spend not only quality time in your area, but quality time in the breakout sessions and the training sessions.
I mean, I think absolutely. If I had a customer that was totally with me for 6 hours in a day and nobody else, and
they'd never go anywhere else.
No, I would be very happy. So I think that I do think that it is a great opportunity for education. I think it's a great opportunity to have a captured audience. It's probably more expensive, in the whole, because you're paying for that entire event and you're paying the facility costs, and whereas the show organizer on a trade show is leveraging those costs or spreading those costs out amongst the entire exhibit floor.
Tell us a little bit about how your company differs from a traditional general contractor.
We actually do not make the majority of our money off of drayage.
Oh, really?
We felt that if you made 80% of your profit, which many general contractors do, as we've talked, that's where most of the profit comes in from, you're not appropriately incented to fix drayage, if that's where most of your money is coming from. So we felt that instead of being paid for drayage, that we would be paid a management fee for the planning and the general contracting experience that we bring, the design and the account management. And then we allow show management to control the exhibitor revenues, so they can actually set the rate for drayage and determine what that needs to be based on their exhibitors, based on the attendees that they think they're bringing their exhibitors, and what they think their exhibitors can afford. And then we share our profits with the show and manager at the end of the day. In this tough economy, when exhibitors are really trying to manage their costs, a lot of our clients are actually reducing their drayage rates because they set them and they control them. So they know that they're not bringing as many attendees as they were last year. So the exhibitor needs, there's two ways you can manage ROI. You can get them more attendees and more sales, or you can reduce their costs, So a lot of our clients are actually reducing their costs this year.
What do you think right now, from your perspective, is the biggest challenge that's facing our industry, specifically the trade show industry?
I think that the biggest challenge, and it's going to sound funny, but the internet, and when I say that, I mean the internet and social networking opportunities, a lot of them are very measurable. And unfortunately, a trade show, you go back to your boss and you say, but I met this guy and 3 years later I made the sale. And so I really think that we, as suppliers in this industry and as show organizers in this industry, have a responsibility to help make the experience more measurable. And then I also think we need to make it more interactive.
I think the other thing from our perspective is you don't create the trade show to be this purely defined 4-day event. There's activities that go on before the show. There's a tremendous amount of follow-up that needs to happen after the show, because once you're there and you do nothing afterwards, on top of just the crime of not following up on leads, you've lost all the momentum. And the opportunity that you had to build a little bit of a relationship with one of your prospective clients or an existing client that maybe things are a little frosty with, if you don't keep up the contact afterwards, if you don't, in other words, extend the life of the trade show beyond the dates the show is going, I think you're, again, losing that potential for greater ROI, losing that potential for deeper relationships. And I think, again, face-to-face marketing has one primary value, and that's to create a better relationship in which to do business.
Jeffrey, I have a question for you. A lot of exhibitor-appointed contractors actually mark up the general contractor's services. Why do you do that?
This is a question we've been asked by a lot of our customers over the years. And there was, in fact, a general contractor, one of your competitors, who put on a seminar for a number of larger exhibitors asking that very question and basically saying to those exhibitors, look, you can save 20% of your show services if you just cut out the exhibitor appointed contractor, or in our case, a company like the Rogers Company. What they failed to mention was that one of the services that we provide is auditing of all of the invoices that come in. We make sure that all the forms are submitted on time so that all the discounts that are available to exhibitors are achieved. But over and above all of that, for us, it's not a large revenue source. We expend more cost and more energy relative to what we actually get in the way of return. But we do it as a service, because without that, our clients do get overcharged for drayage. They do get overcharged for I&D. Not all the time, and it's not intentional.
Right.
But with all the activity going on a show floor, you know it as well as I do, somebody fills out a weight ticket wrong. Somebody fills out a labor ticket wrong. Somebody gets charged for overtime on drayage when in fact it was received on straight time. Our job is to audit all of that. Our job is to provide an estimate of what those costs will be to our client before the show, and then to compare them post-show to see if in fact we're off by 50% on something. Why? Was it because we made a mistake, or was it because the show contractor or some other service provider on the show floor made a mistake? So it's not about the revenue. It's about ensuring an overall more excellent experience, and one that is, in the grander scheme of things, more cost effective.
Right.
I think from the exhibitor standpoint, we get so many complaints about drayage from our clients that they don't understand what drayage helps cover in terms of the overall scheme of things at a show. And just to understand from BJ that drayage helps pay for the decorating of the hall. It helps pay for the service desk. It helps pay for laying out the carpet within the general hall. Gives me a little better understanding of why drayage is what it is. And also the fact that in years past, everything that happened on the show floor was done by the general contractor. Now we have what are called exhibit appointed contractors, installation dismantle companies as an example, that are not part of the general contractor's business, and they go in and take some of that business away from the GC. So at the end of the day, the GC has to have a way to pay for all of these services that they're providing on the floor. Drayage now is one of their only ways of being able to do that.
You know, one of the things that I really, because certainly being a general contractor, it's always been a sensitive point to me that independent contractors actually mark up our fees, which people complain about as being too expensive. So that's always been sort of a sore point for me. But truly, in listening to Jeff explain why the value added and how important it is, I can really see from a big exhibitor standpoint how it would be really important to audit their invoices and to check. There's a lot of things that could happen at show site, not intentionally, but where errors occur, and an exhibitor can't be everywhere and a show organizer can't be everywhere. So I think it is nice to have a third party be able to audit those things and check it out for you.